I'm just wearing a sports bra because this video, this is gonna be a workout. Welcome back everyone. Today's video I'm excited to do because we are doing eye swatches of the new Natasha Denona Xenon palette. So I purchased this from the Natasha Denona website and I am super excited to try it out. I'm going to be doing eye swatches of every single shade on my eyes so we can see what they look like. I did this for her last palette release, the I Need a Nude palette, and a lot of you said that you found it really helpful to actually see the swatches, every single shade in the palette on my eyes. So that is what we are doing today. My eyes still haven't fully recovered from that video, but that's what we're gonna do. So if you don't know, I love Natasha Denona. It is my favorite brand for eyeshadow formula. So whenever she releases a new palette, I tend to give it a double take. I don't buy everything though, like she came out with the mini trio chrome. Not really my vibes, but when I saw the Xenon palette, I got really excited. I was getting a lot of messages from you that you thought it reminded you of the ColourPop Blowing Smoke palette, which is a favorite of mine. Something about these cool tones, like, and like the grayscale, I don't know, it just brings me joy. It's not my everyday look. I'm more of like a neutral, you know, just like some brown or like a gold or something like that. But something about palettes like this one, they make me think of like special occasions, that sort of thing. So when I saw the Xenon palette, I instantly got really excited. This palette does retail for $69. I am an affiliate with Natasha and my discount code is Samantha. Gets you 15% off. There is also the Sephora savings event happening now. So if you're Rouge, you can get 20% off. And I do have a couple of Sephora videos as well. So I can link those if you want to see some recommendations. But the Xenon palette is available at Sephora and also Ulta Beauty and Beautylish and the Natasha Denona website, so you have plenty of places to choose where you want to buy it from. I'll also have it linked in the shopping button here on YouTube. It's a new feature that YouTube has, so you can also purchase it through YouTube as well. So from the website, it says this is a sultry, cool-toned 15-shade extension to the best-selling mini Xenon color story, showcasing a hypnotizing assortment of multi-dimensional blacks, vivid grays, and icy pinks in Natasha's iconic formula, as well as her new innovative sparkling foiled and sparkling wet effect finishes. Edgy Glam Essential offers a contrasted versatility of looks from subtle everyday to the ultimate smoky eyes. Okay. I mean, without further ado, let's jump into why we're all here. I'll zoom you in and we'll start swatching. I really love that I'm doing this on a night where I have like a media event. My eyes are gonna look wild. I just went and got a blowout, and right as I was leaving, I opened the door and my package was there, and I was like, oh, like, so I have to like film with it immediately, you know what I'm saying? Have to. But I was a little like, okay, I might look crazy tonight. So I'm just gonna take the sticker off the mirror here. I'm sad it didn't come in the night before because I went to a costume party and I was a flapper, and this would have been the perfect palette to wear with like my black sparkly dress, but that's okay. It showed up today. Starting off with the shade Ryme. This is described as a metallic white. All right, that looks to be pretty metallic. I'm just gonna go ahead and use my finger for this. A lot of times I use my finger when it comes to like metallic or shimmer shades. Sometimes the warmth of your finger can give, you know, a little bit more oomph. So that's often what I like to do. And yes, looks to be your metallic white. I'm building it up 3 times here. So this is a shade that I would do all over the lid like this. I would do it in the center of the eye. I also think this is a good one for an inner corner or a brow bone highlight, something along those lines. But I think that it's very pretty. White isn't my most reached for shade, I guess that I will say, but it's nice to have an option in a palette. I used the Sigma Beauty and the Beast palette the other night, and I did use the white shimmer for the inner corner and brow bone highlight, and I really liked that. Next up we have Signus. I feel like Natasha has some interesting names for her shadows, but Signus, this is described as a sparkling foiled anthracite. Am I saying any of that right? A sparkling foiled anthracite. The shade feels super soft. Oh, this is stunning. Oh, stop. Oh, behave. Sorry, that's super beautiful. To me, it almost has a little bit of like, yeah, it's like that blue gray and has some shimmer to it. I'm again just going to use my finger for this one and apply it. Wow, this is so pretty. See, again, this is like a shade that I don't wear every single day, but to me, this is like sultry. When I want that extra oomph, like this is going to be so beautiful. And this is a very easy shade to apply. Like again, I'm just applying it with my fingers, but it's very easy to apply. It just kind of pops right away. I think that looks so pretty. I actually think I'm wearing a brown dress tonight, and I'm very disappointed because like I might have to change. I might have to change my outfit so I can match this palette, but that's super pretty. I really like that shade. Next up, we have the shade Stellar. This one is described as a sparkling wet effect white. Okay, so I'll say that one, like my concern with this palette was I was almost concerned there was like too much white in here. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. You know, we're doing some eye swatches now, but I want to also be able to see how many looks I can do with this palette also, because it is $69. Like, that's not inexpensive. So I want to make sure that I can do looks with it. And at first glance, I was like, is that too much? Like, how many white shades? Like, I really just need like a white in a palette, but like, okay. But I'll say too, sometimes with this sparkling wet effect formula, like that's really pretty. I feel like that has definitely more oomph than just the metallic shade. It really does give that wet effect look. So, like that one. Next up, we're gonna go into the shade Blizzard. Blizzard is described as a matte light gray. So I'm just going to take a little brush here from Sonia G, and I'm going to sweep that all along the lid. But I was saying that sometimes with the wet effect formula, this one I get a lot of kick up in the palette. Just want to show you that. You can layer them on top of another shadow and it can kind of change the effect to it. So that might be something that I could try with some of these in here, like layer it on top of like a darker shadow or something like that, and then it can kind of give you a whole new eyeshadow look. But this is a really pretty matte gray. I love gray. Gray is my favorite color. Okay, I don't want to hear it. Gray is my favorite color. I love it. I have for many years. It's just my favorite, and I really like this shadow. Again, I feel like it kind of leans on like the blue gray side, maybe, if you will, but I'm into it. I'm genuinely very into this shade. Like, I wanna wear this all over my eyes and like a little bit of shimmer in the middle. Ooh, I think that would be pretty. Let me go ahead and swatch it on my arm because I forgot to do that. I do really like the Natasha Denona matte formula as well. I feel like it's one of the best matte formulas out there. There is the swatch of Blizzard. I like this shade. I don't think it was one that I thought would necessarily like really run home to me, but again, out of the first four, we have those two whites. I'm just like not sure, you know? But we gotta keep going, we gotta keep going. Next up, we are swatching in the shade Gray? This is described as a sparkling metallic iron gray. So again, I'm just gonna use my fingers here. Ooh, this is pretty. So this looks to be lighter than Signus. To me, kind of has like, almost like an icy gray property to it. Like still kind of that blue gray. Lots of metallic vibes going on with this one. Okay, I think that's pretty. And then to compare like the swatches on my hands, you can see this one is gonna be darker than the gray. Okay. All right, I'll say I don't feel like I've had as many reactions so far as I did to the I Need a Nude palette. That one I had to apologize if you were wearing earphones, watching it in public. You know, I was just like quite excited, but again, we'll keep going. So next up we have the shade Ebb. So Ebb is described as a metallic midnight blue. Again, I'll just be using my fingers. I feel like I'm not as coordinated swatching on my left eye. Like with my fingers, I feel like I kind of go all over the place, but I'm trying. So here is Ebb. This one to me is a little bit more of that like almost like cream to powder type of formula, but nice and blue with this one. Again, I think that it pops really nicely on the eyes. Next up, we are swatching the shade Superionic. Superionic, this is described as a sparkling foiled silver with multicolored specks. Ooh, that's pretty. I do like a nice silver. I will say, again, I wear more like brown and gold, but last night I was like, I just need a really good silver shimmer color. I so wish I would have had this palette last night. My flapper costume was so cute, and walking through a Vegas casino in a flapper costume, like my headpiece was so fun. It was like feathers, and it had these like dangly beady things like in the middle of my eyes. Ooh, but I got stopped by everybody. Everybody. Okay, this is really pretty. I like that it's more silver because it kind of is reminding me a little bit of the Stellar shade. Like again, I'm just a little bit worried it's just gonna be too repetitive within the palette, which is kind of what happened with me with the Yucca palette. I just kind of thought the shades inside were a little bit too close to one another, and I'm wondering if I'm gonna feel the same way about this one. It's pretty and it definitely pops, like it's doing its job. I'm just wondering if it's too close. And then next up, we are swatching the shade SPASH. I just want to sit in on one of these meetings and be like, what? How do we come up with these names? But SPASH is described as a matte cream powder charcoal. A matte cream powder charcoal. Got it. And I'm just going to use a fluffy brush for this one. Normally with mattes, you know, I would kind of work them into the crease like so. So that is what we're going to do with this one. Okay, this is a pretty shade as well, because there's not a, I mean, there's definitely, you know, mattes in here, but it doesn't, I wouldn't say it leans as like more of a matte palette. So I like that we have a little bit of a darker shade as well. And I do like the cream to powder formula from Natasha. I think that it's very pretty. So again, I just really don't even feel like I need to build it up anymore. That's pretty. I like this one. Again, I mean, even like these two combined, I think would make a really pretty eyeshadow look. Even this with the Signus, or even like a white sparkling, even this, just this matte alone. I feel like this matte might be my favorite so far. I do really like the Signus shade though. The second shade that we swatched, I think that one's really pretty too. I can't remember if I showed the swatch of SPASH, but just in case, there it is. Next up, we are, okay, I'm really curious about this shade. This is SNOWBO. SNOWBO. Okay, SNOWBO is described as crystal sparkling pink with multicolored flecks. So this I was curious about because I saw the pink in the photo, and then I started seeing people say that they didn't think it was really all that pink. Swatch, it doesn't really look all that pink. I've also put my nails in 2 of these shadows, so that's fun. So I don't know, because for some reason the pink kind of like stood out to me. So it's like, was that just, you know, the photos making it look that way? I mean, this looks to be a really beautiful metallic. I can see the multicolored flecks because it almost kind of pulls a little bit blue at the same time. Yeah, I do wish it was a little bit more pink, because to me it's kind of like white, and we already have enough whites in this palette. I mean, I can definitely still see that it's pink and kind of multicolored. It's pretty. It's not exactly what I was expecting, but it's still pretty. I kind of thought this might be my favorite shade in the palette. I don't know if that will be true, but next up we're gonna swatch Night Sky. So here is the swatch of Night Sky, and this one is described as a metallic black. I'm not gonna lie to you, I wasn't black. Night Sky, metallic black. Okay, to me it looks more blue, but what do I know? Let me put it on my eyes and see what we think. I feel like it's coming across darker on my eyes. It's just funny to me because I wouldn't have thought to say black. I would have said like a dark blue. I mean, I would have tried to make it like sound cooler than that, but I wasn't thinking it was just like a black shade. Dark shades like this can be a little bit hard to do with my finger, so don't mind that. So I would say, even though this is metallic, I feel like I'd probably want to use a brush if I was using this one. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty dark shade in the palette. I feel like the contrast between my two eyes right now is kind of funny, but yeah, okay. I don't know, I feel like I'm not making all the noises like I was in my last video, you know? But okay, we got one more row. All right, going into the last row, my eyes are starting to feel it. We have the shade Contrail. Contrail. This is described as a matte white. Okay, matte white. A lot of whites in this palette, but I'm just gonna go ahead and take a blending brush and just kind of sweep it. I just feel like we don't need so many like a matte white and then a metallic white and then a sparkling finish white. Like, I just don't feel like we need all the different formulas in a white, but you might be someone who loves white eyeshadow, and that's great. This would probably be a good palette for you. Okay, matte white. Let's move on to this shade I'm really curious about. This is called Snert. Snert is described as a medium matte gray. I just want to do like all the gray looks and wear all the gray clothes. All right, so there is Snert. I'm gonna use a blending brush again and apply this all over. Yes, all I want to do is a gray look. You know, some people might be like, maybe there's too many grays in here. Like the way that I'm saying, I feel like there's too many whites, but I like grays. So like, these shades actually get me excited. I like this one. I think that this is pretty. This is a shade that I would use. I mean, again, I could use these two shades together. Even just doing the matte gray all over. I'm a very simple eyeshadow girl, so even if I just did like the gray and then I added like a little bit of matte, or again did the inner corner brow bone highlight, I think that would be really pretty, but I like the matte gray. Next up, we are swatching the shade Neve. Neve. This is described as a sparkling metallic peony pink. I don't know. Okay, I'm not really sure. I don't really see like any pink to this. Like this one, I mean, yes, but I'm not sure I understand. I don't think I see any pink here, but let me put it on my eyes. Maybe we'll have a different reaction, because to me this just looks white. Like I was fully expecting it to say like, it's another white, you know? Like, I don't know. That's what I thought the description would list it as, but I see no pink in this shade. Does anyone else? Am I wild? Am I tripping? Am I crazy? Am I a fool? This to me is a shimmery white, like a metallic. Like, we don't need this shade. We don't need this shade. Okay. Okay, all right, we're gonna keep going. Next up, we're gonna swatch the shade Flurry. This is looking like a matte shade. To me, it's gonna be more of a taupe, so it's blending quite a bit with my particular skin tone. So this is described as a matte eggshell. Okay, matte eggshell. So just going to take a fluffy blending brush for this one. And again, I feel like this is gonna be pretty close to my skin tone, but this can be one of those shades that is nice to blend out, like especially some of those darker like matte grays. Could use this to kind of blend out the edges and things like that. But yeah, just building it up. Like this isn't a shade that I would wear on its own. It really is one that I would use to counteract something that's a little bit darker and you just kind of want to smooth everything together. So that one is Flurry. And lastly, we have one shade left, and this is Skift. This is described as a sparkling foiled light medium champagne. Okay, I feel like this is the one, it's not necessarily an outlier, but it's not white, you know, it's like an outlier to me. But I'm just gonna go ahead. I re-added my concealer because my eyes were looking a little crazy. So added on some concealer and powder. This one's pretty. I like this formula. It's so easy to just like swipe on, which I think is great. I mean, again, like you don't even need a brush. You just swipe it all over with your fingers and it's super pretty. Like for this, I feel like I could just throw, I don't know, I feel like I could do a little bit of Flurry, that eggshell, egg white, egg milk, whatever. Like I could throw that into the crease and like some liner, and that could make a pretty look. But yeah, okay. I'm just gonna throw this on my other eye as well because I do like the shade and I feel like it can work with whatever outfit I end up wearing tonight. Right, so there is Skift. I mean, I'll say overall, I'm just not absolutely blown away by the palette. I feel like it's a little bit repetitive within itself. Again, kind of same thing as I said as the Yucca palette. A lot of whites, a lot of the blue grays in here. A couple of the mattes kind of stick out to me. I do like, you know, some of these gray toned mattes. I do like the last shade. I wish those pinks, like to me, this isn't pink at all. This is white. You know, we have a little bit of pink in here, but I would have liked to seen it. I would have liked to have seen it closer to what it looked like in the photos. But again, this is why we do the eye swatches. If you were still considering purchasing it and then, you know, maybe we have the same thoughts, or maybe you see it and you're like, wait, that's actually what I like. That's what I want. You know, everyone's gonna have a different preference. But to me, when I do the eye swatching videos, I'm just trying to help you out to see like what it looks like actually in person, and then also on the eyes, instead of just doing swatches, and instead of doing you know, 3 looks or something like that, just really giving each eyeshadow like its own little time to shine here. So I hope that you found it helpful. Again, I'll have it linked down below if you want to pick it up. My affiliate code with Natasha is Samantha. I feel like if you have the mini Xenon, I'm not really sure that you need the midi size of it, but again, everyone's different. To me, I'm not someone who returns makeup because there's just always someone that I can pass it on to, but I feel like this is a palette I'm probably going to keep in my collection for a little bit, and then I can see myself, especially because I'm trying to keep a more minimalist collection, I can see myself eventually passing this on to someone. Like, it's not one of those that I feel like is going to be a favorite or like a top shelf staple in my collection. But those are just kind of my thoughts. Again, I hope that you found this video helpful. Let me know if you picked this one up, if you are planning to, what you thought of the swatches and also the eye swatches, and I'll see you in my next one.